YouTube, welcome back to my channel. My name is Joni and this is the Knitting Attorney podcast, episode something. This is where I talk about my knitting and crafting and mostly knitting. So let's get into it. Today I have some finished objects for you. So my first one to share is my summer slipover, which I'm wearing. This is a pattern by Sophie Hodgkinson, and as you can see, it is this lovely tank top basically that is open at the sides here, and it just ties up with ties on both sides. So I started this just a couple weeks ago, and it was really a simple pattern to do. It's done in this broken rib stitch, and you just kind of decrease some more. It's knit flat in two pieces, and you attach the shoulders with Kitchener stitch and then do the ties. So all in all, it didn't take long. I knit this with yarn that I got while I was in Scotland, which is a yarn from North Ronaldsay, which is this really beautiful natural undyed wool from special seaweed eating sheep. So all in all, I'm really happy with how this turned out, and I'm not surprised I got this finished so quickly. It was a nice small project to do. I didn't make any sort of modifications to it. I just followed the pattern as written, and it came out really nice, and I felt like the pattern was easy to follow, and I have no complaints. So if you're interested in a really cute summery top that maybe shows a little bit more skin than some people are comfortable with, but I'm personally okay with it. But if you're interested, it's definitely a pattern to check out. I think this sort of open side is a kind of unique design feature. I don't see a lot of knitwear kind of taking that sort of risque approach, and it's a good kind of twist on some of the traditional sweater vests we're seeing. Definitely makes it a very summer appropriate sort of garment. So yeah, that project, I suppose there's not a whole lot to say. It's done, it's cute. I will say this wool is slightly scratchy. Even after washing it, it's definitely got a bit of a roughness to it. So I'm not personally sensitive to wool. I actually have pretty sensitive skin. I have eczema, but wool for some reason is totally okay with me. But yeah, if you are at all sensitive, I would not necessarily recommend it. At least not this yarn. But if you're like me and your skin is fine with wool, then it is definitely a very interesting, different texture from a lot of other yarns I've used, so it's kind of worth checking out. So I had that almost done last week, and I had another project almost done last week. And this is my harvest tee by Ozetta. And I did these in this order so that I could put this on top and hopefully show off how it looks. A little bit bulky under there, but I hope you can get the idea. This is a simple like stockinette knit bottom up t-shirt design, and I knit this out of the Euro Yarns Belviso, and it's a cotton, linen, and nettle blend. And I didn't make a lot of modifications. I kind of talked through most of these last week, so if you're interested, check out my previous video. But the only thing I did was the neckline, the way the pattern was written, had you do a sort of stretchy I-cord bind off, and I tried that and ended up very loose and floppy, and so I ended up just doing a regular I-cord bind off on a much smaller needle. Where I left off last week, I had one of these sleeves done, and I just finished the other one exactly the same way, so it hasn't really changed a whole lot in terms of appearance. I did block this, and I think that improved the shape and fit quite a bit. Before blocking, the sleeves were a little bit awkward and stiff. And I'm hoping with the linen content of this yarn it'll soften up a bit more as it's worn. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. It's definitely a very loose, baggy t-shirt, but I like that it's not super cropped, but it's a little bit cropped. It kind of hits right in the middle of my hip bone, which is sort of where I like a cropped top to end. I don't really like it right up at my natural waist, but more sort of at the hip, like just overlapping with like a mid-rise jean, if that makes sense, is kind of my perfect length. So yeah, it ended up, I think, very good, and it is very comfortable, and I've worn it a few times already. And truth be told, I did weave in the ends, but I think I missed one because there's a little guy right here, so there's gonna have to be a little bit of extra finishing. So I'm gonna take this off because the layering of them is a little more awkward than I was imagining when I was setting up for this. But yeah, I'm also hoping to, at some point, sew a tag into the back, because even though they're not, the back and front aren't identical, they're kind of hard to tell apart. So right now I have a stitch marker marking the back, but I like to generally sew tags into things when it's not super obvious, just so when I'm getting dressed in the morning and wanting to put it on, I'm not staring at it at like 9 a.m. puzzling over which side is which. So that's a little tip, life hack. Not really. So yeah, those were my FOs. And so as my pattern goes, one FO, I bring in an old whip. Second FO, I get to bring in a new project. So my old whip, which I talked about in my last video, is my Harley sweater from the spring 2021 Knit Collage Cal. And this is how it's looking right now. I have it inside out because I am going around weaving in the ends. And as you can see, there's quite a lot, but believe it or not, I have actually woven in a fairly significant number of them. So that continues. It is easier because I have a needle felting pen, so I can just felt in most of these woolly ones. And this cotton yarn, they're wildflower yarn, you can knot it because the yarn itself has knots in it as a design feature. So there's not a lot of like weaving in for inches and inches or hours and hours. You can kind of just weave things through a few stitches and then either knot or felt. So that does make the process a little bit quicker, but still I'm going pretty slow on it. But I've been doing this while I watch one of my favorite shows, which is Air Disasters. Little thing about me, I'm actually like super into aviation and aviation incidents, so I've been watching that, learning about various plane crashes throughout history and the investigations to determine what happened and what went wrong. And so this joins me on the couch while I'm doing that. So I'm hoping to have that done next week because it's really not that much work. I just need to be a little bit more disciplined. So that was the whip I brought in, and so I need to talk about my new whip. And this is called the Boxy Cardigan, I believe, by Friday Knits, and I think she has a YouTube channel also, but this is not looking like much at the moment. Believe it or not, I'm actually like more than halfway done with this, but yeah, I cast this on this week, and it is, because you can't see it, it is a cute short sleeve button down cardigan with a collar. And so far I have most of the body. I think it ends up with about 5 buttons, and I've just gotten to the point to work the 4th buttonhole. So Yeah, I'm knitting this out of Birch Hollow Fibers Phyllis DK in the shade Dryad. And I do have to say with this, the one thing I'm super proud of, can you see where I picked up stitches? Can you see it? Because I barely can. I'm super proud of how neatly I picked up the stitches in this one. I think that's like the best job I've ever done in any garment or project ever, so clearly something in my skills are improving. But yeah, I've been just chugging along on this. I have 3 skeins of this yarn, and this is what one of them looks like, and then I have a third one downstairs. I've been very good about alternating skeins because of how many colors are in this yarn and just kind of the hand-dyed nature of it. I really don't want this to end up with weird, ugly pooling, so that's probably slowed down my progress more than it would have been otherwise, because I feel like it's knit on a size 7 needle, and I actually checked my gauge and I got gauged, so that's good. But it's DK weight on a size 7 needle, so it's not super bulky, but it's not teeny tiny fingering weight, so it's not, you know, the slowest project to do, but obviously having to kind of deal with all of this, this tangled mess right now, definitely slows progress down a little bit, but I'm trying, and I hope to get like a sleeve or the collar on this by next week so that it actually looks like something. So that's my new whip, and that's been taking up most of my knitting time, to be fair. I think I had a bit of an exhausting week, so I kind of needed just that new project feeling. But I have one more whip to show you, which will round out my 3, and that is my balloon cardigan by Petite Knit. Last week I had finished the body, and I said I wanted to finish a sleeve, and I've gotten nowhere near. You can see where the sleeve stitches were held, and I have managed to knit like a couple inches. I think this one has been potentially going slow also because of the same alternating skeins, and that's just made so much more difficult with also the mohair. I've got like 3 balls of yarn attached to this thing at once, and so it's a little bit of a hassle. But yeah, I am definitely working on it. See, it's tangled already. Yeah, I definitely should probably bring this project back into the forefront, because when I knit this pattern before, each sleeve took me like a couple days max, and I've taken a full week to get like a couple of inches, so I could definitely be making more progress than this. But that's okay, because I'm doing this for fun. This is something I enjoy doing, is knitting, and if what I'm enjoying right now is a new project, then that's what I like to do. Yeah, so that is my knitting updates for this week. I haven't been doing a whole lot of other crafting. I have a little project that I'm working on, but I'd hoped to have finished, but I do not, so there's nothing really worth showing you guys at this moment, but hopefully next week. And yeah, other than that, life has been a little bit crazy. My parents are like in the end stages of gearing up for their move to Spain, and so this week has been a lot of organizing stuff, setting it up so that I can take care of their affairs back here while they're abroad and I'm still in the US. So that has been a little bit of a complicated thing, and this coming week it's gonna potentially be a little bit more intense because I'm gonna have to go through everything with them and know exactly, you know, what needs to be taken care of and when, and that is just kind of a whole thing. So yeah, that is kind of like what's going on in my life right now. And other than that, still waiting on studying for the SQE, still getting more stuff set up for my trip to Spain and the UK coming up in March and April. And yeah, working, doing life things. So hopefully next week I will have even more progress to show you. And I'm hoping next week my best friend is planning on visiting at some point. And maybe I will have her as a guest on my podcast. She's not a knitter, but that's okay. It would be fun, I think, to talk to someone about knitting, especially who doesn't know much about knitting. So yeah, I would say let me know in the comments if you're interested in seeing that, but if it happens, it happens, and you have no control over it because it's my channel. I'm kidding. So yes, if you enjoy my videos, please like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. At the time of filming, I am at 199 subscribers, and I would really like to hit 200 and beyond, but yes, that would be nice. If I hit 1,000, maybe I'll do like a giveaway or something. Maybe. I'm not promising. I'm not making any promises. So yes, I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye bye.